has one of the best theme songs in the entire company. That I like. But still, there's just something about the guy, it's just very dull.
Yep.
And so he wins this Money in the Bank match, which means he's all but guaranteed to win the championship at some point.
Oh, God, could you imagine? Oh, sorry, I didn't even realise I had this running. Okay, sorry about that. Let me kind of switch gears for a second. Okay, now we're back and I'm present. So, just listening to some stuff because I was getting ready to do a video. So the big news really is that Seth Rollins is injured, busted up his ACL, busted up his MCL. He is going to be out for like 6 to 9 months. So he's going to be out of WrestleMania season. He won't be back till the summer. First things first, I really wish that man a proper, happy, healthy, effective and efficient recovery with a knee injury that severe. If I were him, I would take the full 9 months. That's just me, because if you have that kind of knee injury and you rush coming back and you're like, I'll be there in 6 months, you're going to end up re-injuring that knee. Look at Dominic Cruz, even though it was a different kind of injury. But when it's the knees, you've got to be very, very careful and very particular about rehabilitating it. So I really wish him the best, but I am really bummed out for him because it's an interesting sight when you see somebody that you've watched all the way from the independent scene as Tyler Black coming into Ring of Honor, through Ring of Honor to the FCW, to NXT, to the WWE main roster. It's quite a journey to watch when you see guys like that come up and then they're on the biggest stage, and it's a sight to behold. I know that we've all had our criticisms about the guy's run and the way he's been booked, and that he is presented to be like a irrational, immature, silly little child in the presence of Steph and Hunter. But Hunter was never ever presented like that as a heel champion, and everyone will go, well, heels need to be booked a certain way. I know that's a whole debate, but we need to concentrate on the present. Now, with Seth injured, stripped of the belt, this now opens up a world of opportunities, and it's, you know, there's quite a few things, but let me touch on the first thing. It opens up, and in a way it makes it interesting. It makes WWE interesting in a way, because now we're all talking about, whether it's my mate Kyle, whether it's the Solo Monster, whether it's everybody here on YouTube, Tyrone Magnus, all of those guys. Everybody is now talking about, even Adam from What Culture, everybody is now talking about the one thing: who's going to be the champion next? Who's going to be the champion? Who's going to be the WWE champion? Who are they going to bring in? What's going to happen? So what we do know is that there's going to be a tournament. And we don't know how many people are going to be in it, but we know there's a tournament and a new champion will be crowned at Survivor Series. And looking at the roster, and I want to say this, and I'm saying the WWE roster, the NXT roster, but one thing that's there to me is the talent. There is talent there. There are good wrestlers, good personalities, there are great athletes, physical presences. It's there in the roster. Well, one thing that's not there or is lacking is the star power, right? And I know people are going to get upset about this, but look, there are a lot of these names that are so skilled and so talented, but they are at a certain level and have been presented as being at a certain level and nothing more, and it's hurt their star power. Now, blame the company for the way that they've done this, because a guy like Cesaro is very talented and we know he is, but he's not been pushed as a star and pushed as important and presented as crucial to the show. Kevin Owens, to an extent, kind of has had that a bit more. Ryback has had the stop-start treatment. So it's, you know, it's an interesting thing, and to me it kind of shows that they haven't created the stars that they think they have. And now with Orton injured, Cena on hiatus, Bryan injured, and now Seth Rollins injured, to me it has exposed that right at present. And maybe it's time that the WWE puts their energies and their creative juices into all these other people, builds up some tag teams, builds up the divas even more so, builds up other acts to be a strong anchor to keep the show going. They faced this problem back in the late 90s when Austin was injured and Taker was injured and Foley was retiring, yet they still survived with The Rock and Triple H and Jericho and Benoit and Guerrero and the Hardys and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian and Taz. They managed to keep going despite that. And I think that the WWE needs to kind of look at that and move on from there. The other thing that people are saying is, who do they call up then? Do they call somebody? Do they call an established star? Because now they are without that ticket mover, that one name that moves units and makes people want to go and see them. Now it's like with Cena out and all of that, they need someone to take that spot. And obviously some people are saying, listen, Vince, just get Brock Lesnar back. Just pay him whatever, get him back on the main roster because he is a big star. But then, in my opinion, one of the reasons why he is so successful and why he works is because we don't see him every week on Raw. Hold on. And perhaps if we bring him back, or they bring him back, if they bring him back and he comes back and he's on the show every week, perhaps that uniqueness that he has starts to get watered down a little bit. And maybe it's not such a good idea, but maybe him appearing at Survivor Series and then doing a few Raws between now and January would be great. Some people are saying calling other names back. Some people even said bring John Morrison back, funnily enough, which was interesting, but I don't think that's going to happen. Then what was the other one that somebody suggested? Oh, yes. Somebody said get Big Dave Bautista on the phone, but if you saw his latest interview, God bless Big Dave. If you haven't seen his latest interview, he gave an indictment, like he gave a scathing review on WWE's creative and some of the things that they do. And he hasn't blasted the company, but he wasn't happy with creative. And also given the fact that his schedule was going to be pretty tight, because I think he's got a bit of a break and then he's got to start filming Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, next year. So realistically, how long can they have him? But I'll tell you what, if they can get him from now until WrestleMania and give him the run that he should have had, meaning him as a heel, because he's great as being a heel, being a monster, building him up to the Royal Rumble, building him up into WrestleMania, you could have him and Brock Lesnar for the belt, or you could have him and Roman Reigns for the belt. I think that Dave could really, really work there. And he's a name, and he's got a lot more name power now because of the Guardians of the Galaxy and the James Bond film, and he could definitely get some eyeballs and move some units, if you know what I mean. Then you look at the actual current roster, and this leads me to really what my main thought was. I was at the gym and I was thinking about all of this, and then it hit me. If they don't bring anyone back, like an Undertaker or a Lesnar or a Batista or even The Rock, and they go with someone on the current roster, who could they put it on? Now, I know some people have said Kevin Owens, and Owens is very talented and I do like him a lot. I do feel like some of his steam went a little bit after the Cena feud, and now he's starting to kind of get it back again. He could be a name that could work. People do buy into him. People believe that that's how he really is, and it does work. But do I see him as champion? Maybe not just yet, but that could happen. And they do need strong heels. They really do need strong heels. And Owens isn't like Seth in that respect. He's not presented like Seth in that respect. So he could work. Sheamus, as I've said, I hope to God not. I really hope that doesn't happen. Dean Ambrose is another name that people have thrown out there. He's very, very talented. He's a very popular wrestler. He's a guy that I'm a big fan of. And I said it about a year ago that if the company haven't realised it, that Ambrose is one of those guys. They're stupid and they're fools. And they kind of went up and down with him, up and down with him, up and down with him. He's kind of important, not important. The stop-start stuff that they've done with him has kind of hurt him, but they could definitely do something with him in the tournament. Hold that thought, because we're going to go back to Ambrose when I get to Roman Reigns. Alberto Del Rio is the other name, and Del Rio comes in with some momentum, given the fact that he's got this big contract, and he is the US champion, and he beats Cena cleanly. That's a very good, encouraging start. Where they're kind of going with him is a little bit confusing. Is he a heel or is he a babyface? Is he this whole thing with him and Zeb Coulter, where is that going? I mean, they could do that if he gets over strongly, and he's very good, and he could. And he's definitely a name that maybe they could do that with. It would give him more momentum if he gets the US belt and the WWE belt. He could definitely get a lot of momentum there. I do feel like they need to give him a couple more weeks to get there. But I'll tell you what, good timing for him to come over. Let's just say that. He might have even got more money if he'd signed this week instead now, given everything that's happened. Del Rio was one. Now, Roman Reigns, Cesaro, I don't see that happening with. Just throwing that out there. Dolph Ziggler, I don't see it happening out there. See it happening with him. And Rusev is injured, so I don't see anything. And to be honest with you, I think they're still pissed off with him for that other stuff. Now, Roman Reigns is the favourite. Roman Reigns is the name that everybody's saying. And lots of people feel that now this is going to be Roman's time. And if you believe what you read on the internet, apparently Roman was supposed to beat Seth at the Survivor Series pay-per-view anyways. So people are definitely going with Roman Reigns. And I am tossing ideas around in my head. And I said Dean Ambrose, and we'll come back to that later. So the idea that I have heard and the idea that I'm kind of going with in my head is Reigns and Ambrose in a feud over the belt. But does Ambrose turn or does Reigns turn? Now, the argument for Ambrose turning as a heel is that he's getting stale as a babyface, which I don't really think. But turning heel would kind of give him a shot in the arm. He's a great character. He's a great talker. He could definitely play off this. He could definitely be a very good heel. And I think this could get some babyface sympathy for Roman Reigns. And this could get the people on board even more. However, I do worry that the fans will find Ambrose is so good at what he does that they will cheer for Dean and boo Roman. And that's something that they don't want. So then here's something I want to throw out. What if, let me have a sip of this actually. So what if they give the fans what they want? What if Roman Reigns, much like The Rock did at Survivor Series 1998, wins the belt in the tournament? What if from there Roman Reigns has sided with the Authority and becomes their new guy, and he is now the heel world champion, the corporate champion, the chosen one, not Jeff Jarrett. You know what I mean? But basically he becomes like a modern day version of that storyline with The Rock. I think that could be quite interesting, and I'll be honest with you, he could cut some very interesting promos on the crowd for the way that they were towards him. And maybe I'm comparing it a lot to how, what happened with The Rock. Remember when he was Rocky Maivia and the fans were not on board, then he turned heel, and it kind of forced him to come out of his shell even more, and then he became The Rock, and then the rest is history. What if they do the same thing with Roman Reigns, and Roman becomes a heel, and he's got Hunter and Steph backing him, and he's this, pampered, spoiled, catered to, chosen one, and Ambrose is the one now chasing him. That could be very, very interesting, and I think that could really... That's a scenario I wouldn't mind seeing. Now add to it like this. Reigns holds the belt all the way up until WrestleMania. You now do Roman Reigns versus Lesnar number 2, but this time with Roman as the heel and the world champion. And if Roman wins, that could do even more for him, I feel. And then when Seth comes back, Seth could be quite sympathetic because of his knee injury, and then that sets up Seth versus Roman, but with Roman as the heel. So then you basically set up 3 challengers: Seth, Dean, Brock. So perhaps that's a scenario they could go with. I do know though that the argument is they really want Roman to be the next John Cena, the next, well, not Hulk Hogan in so many ways, but the next big star, the next heroic babyface. So maybe they won't go with it. But I'll tell you what, a scenario where he joins the Authority and becomes the Monster Heel World Champion could be very, very interesting, and one that I would not mind seeing. Listen, anything's got to be better than seeing Sheamus as champion right now. Anyways, guys, I'm a little bit off form. I'm just starting to get my legs back again. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel. I am now going to get in the bath and condition what's left of my hair. You write some comments down below. You let me know how you feel. You let me know what you would like to see for Survivor Series. I am out of here. If you haven't already, thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And UFC tonight. So guys, take care and peace.